If you have refused to live passively, but instead take intentional steps that will help you live a meaningful, fulfilling, and successful life, then this particular video is for you. In this video, we're going to discuss ways for you to live intentionally by doing away with some of these habits that are holding you back. This is a two-part series video. So this is the second part. The first part is available, so you can click away and watch that first video, then come back and continue with this one. Or you can watch this one, then continue with that one. But make sure you watch both of them. Hi, I'm Amaka and I'm committed to seeing you live your best life. In this channel, we'll discuss everything content creation, content marketing, business, personal development with a sprinkle of vlogs. Do well to check my other videos. So let's jump right in. So one habit that can hinder your growth this year is rejecting compliments. This is more common than we realize. It often stems from feelings of insecurity, a feeling of seeming arrogant or being uncomfortable in the spotlight. Many people may respond to compliments with phrases like, "Oh, it is nothing," or "I just got lucky," instead of simply accepting the kind words. However, when you do this, when you reject compliments, it can send the wrong message. It can seem dismissive, like, "Oh, I don't value what you're telling me." Or it can even show that you undervalue yourself. Learning to accept compliments graciously is not just polite, but it also boosts your self-esteem. Tips for overcoming these bad habits. One is to pause before responding. So pause, take a deep breath, assimilate it, absorb the compliment so that you'll not be in a haste to just brush it off, to be like, "It is nothing." "Oh, it is nothing." "Oh, thank you so much, it is nothing." You know, pause so that you can absorb it. Absorb that compliment. You deserve to be complimented. Secondly, is for you to practice saying thank you. Stand in front of a mirror and tell yourself thank you. Practice it so that it feels natural to you, or you can even practice it with a trusted friend. Thirdly, avoid downplaying or redirecting the compliments. So when you get the compliments, don't downplay it. Don't shift the credit to another person. So instead of saying it wasn't necessary, anybody can do it, how about you say, "Thank you so much. I tried my best and I'm glad it showed." Another thing you can do is to reflect on your strengths. If you struggle with self-esteem, take time to reflect on your strengths and achievements. Writing them down can help you recognize your value, making it easier to accept praises. Another thing you should do is to reframe your mindset. Start believing that accepting compliments is something that you can do. Just the way you give others compliments, also be willing to accept compliments. Accepting compliments is not about being boastful, it's all about people appreciating the qualities they see in you and you accepting it. It takes practice over time, but eventually accepting compliments can improve your self-confidence, it can strengthen your relationship, and it can help you embrace your worth. Another bad habit that might be holding you back and that might be hindering your growth is isolating yourself. This can happen for various reasons such as mental health struggle, fear of judgment or rejection, criticism or being misunderstood, burnout, grief, trauma, low self-esteem, amongst others. I know that sometimes you might want to take out some time to just reflect. Having to isolate yourself is necessary for self-reflection. But when you do it, when you prolong it, it can affect your mental and emotional well-being. So these are tips for you to overcome this bad habit of isolating yourself for long. But first, let's discuss the signs that show that isolation is becoming unhealthy. So first sign is avoiding calls or invitations. Secondly, feeling lonely but unable to reach out. Thirdly, loss of interest in activities and relationships. So now let's discuss tips for overcoming these bad habits. One is for you to start small with reconnecting with your family members. Begin by reaching out to a family member, calling that friend, sending out a text message, accepting that invitation for a casual meetup. Secondly, create a routine. Structure your day in such a way that you make out time for social activities. Even if it's just stepping out to the park, even if it's just meeting up with a friend casually. Join a group or a class that aligns with your interests. For instance, if you like to draw and there's a class for drawing, you can join that class. Therefore, it gives you the opportunity to meet and make new friends, associate with people, network. Another thing you can do is to challenge negative thoughts. Most times, isolation stems from the fact that we are thinking to ourselves, oh, nobody wants me around, you know? So challenge those thoughts, those irrational thoughts, and replace them with positive affirmations, with positive thoughts. Tell yourself, this is not it. People want me around. People love me. People love my company. I am a magnet for genuine friendships. I'm a magnet for genuine connections. So if you are someone that enjoys your alone time, you can do this. This is the fifth thing for you to do, the fifth tip. Schedule specific periods for solitude and balance it with social engagement to avoid falling into prolonged isolation. You can also speak to a therapist if it is very serious. It is okay for you to tell someone about the problem you are facing. Remember, you don't need to go through life alone. Another habit that might be holding you back this year is people pleasing. I know it is normal, it is natural for you to want to please people, but then don't do it at your own expense. Because constantly seeking to please others can lead to burnout, it can lead to resentment and lack of personal fulfillment. So, why do people become people pleasers? One, fear of rejection, because they don't want to be rejected. They don't want to feel like, oh, I'm not accepted because I did not please you. I did not do this to make you happy at my own detriment. Then another thing is low self-esteem. When you have low self-esteem, whatever you feel you need to make people happy or to make people be like, oh yes, I like this person. You start doing it to please the person at your own detriment. Another thing is past conditioning. If you grew up in an environment whereby pleasing people was necessary for approval and safety, then you tend to do that. Another thing might be empathy overload. When you have so much empathy, you might tend to please people, be a people pleaser. Now let us move over to the signs that you might be a people pleaser. First one, difficulty saying no even when overwhelmed. Secondly, feeling guilty when prioritizing your own needs. Thirdly, constantly seeking validation or approval from others. Another one is fear of conflict or disappointing others. And lastly, neglecting your own goals, health, or well being to meet other people's demands. Now, moving on, we are going to discuss the tips to use and overcome these bad habits. One, practice saying no. So, when you see that this thing is not okay for you to do, it is not going to favor you in any way, it is not in your it is not okay for you to do that thing at that particular time, you can say no. You don't need to over explain it, but you can tell the person, I would have loved to help you, but I have other priorities now. So, second tip is for you to identify your boundaries. Reflect on what's most important to you and set limits. Boundaries might include saying no to things that drain your energy and not answering work calls after working hours. Another tip for you to overcome this bad habit is to reframe your mindset. Start believing that saying no doesn't make you selfish. It shows self respect. People who truly care about you will understand. And stop seeking external validation. This is another tip for you. Learn to validate yourself by acknowledging your achievements and worth without relying on others' approval. Prioritize yourself. Do things because you want to, not because you feel obligated. People pleasing stems from a good place most times. You care about others. However, it can become unhealthy when it comes at the expense of your own well being. Let us move on. Now, this is the fourth habit that might be holding you back, that you need to stop, that you need to break in order to grow. And that is trying to control every outcome. This desire to control everything because of you are scared that you fail or you don't like uncertainty, it comes from this trying to control everything. You might not necessarily control everything. Try to know the things to control and the things that you can't control. There are things in life you can't control. The things you can control, focus on them. You can control your weight. You can control the goals you achieve in a year. But some circumstances or some things that happen to you in life, you can't control it. So focus on the things you can control, okay? Because when you try to control everything, it can lead to anxiety, it can lead to disappointment, it can lead to frustration when things don't align with your expectations. So tips to overcome this bad habit. Accept the things you can and cannot control by making a list of the things you can control, such as your attitude, efforts, your choices, and also make a list of the things you cannot control, like others' opinion about you, and then focus on the former. Secondly, embrace uncertainty. Realize that uncertainty is a natural part of life. Thirdly, practice mindfulness. Live in the future more. Stop worrying so much about the future. Another tip is for you to set realistic expectations. So focus on progress, not perfection, and allow room for mistakes. They are part of learning. Another thing is for you to develop a coping strategy or develop coping strategies. So when things don't go as planned, instead of panicking, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I adapt? Another tip for you to help overcome these bad habits is to focus on the big picture. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? This perspective can help you let go of minor details and focus on what really matters. Another bad habit that is holding you back this year is not practicing gratitude. Gratitude is the art of recognizing and appreciating the little things in our lives, whether big or small. When we don't practice gratitude, we tend to focus on things that are lacking, things that are not there. And in essence, this thing has consequences of making us feel anxious and unhappy because you're focusing on the problems, you're focusing on what is lacking. So you tend to become anxious and it makes you unhappy too. It also weakens the bond you share with people because instead of being grateful for what they do for you, you tend to be unappreciative, you tend to be ungrateful. So now we are going to discuss the tips that will help you to overcome these bad habits. Number one is for you to have a gratitude journal. So every day, write three things. Select three things that you are grateful for. It could be the breath of life. Just write it down. You can write up to five things that you are grateful for. Personally, I practice this. It could be for breath of life, for the food you have, for genuine friendship. Secondly, express gratitude to others. Don't be an ingrate. When people are good to you, express gratitude. It could be through gestures, through telling them, it could be through notes, written notes. Doing this helps strengthens your relationship, the bond you have with the person, and also it helps spread positivity. Avoid comparison. When you avoid comparison, it means you are contented with what you have and you are grateful for it. Another thing is for you to spend few minutes each day focusing on what is present and appreciating what you have at the moment, which could be good health, the breath that you have, even your smile, that you're able to smile. Another tip is for you to create visual reminders. So get sticky notes and write down things you are grateful for. Paste it, keep it in your mirror, on your mirror rather, keep it on your fridge so that when you look at it, you can easily smile and be grateful. Use it as a screensaver on your mobile devices so that you can really appreciate the little things that you have. Another tip is for you to end your day with gratitude. Before you go to bed, reflect on the good things that happened to you that day. It helps you go to sleep with a positive mindset. By taking all these small steps consistently, you attract small things that makes you grateful. So let's tell me, what are you grateful for today? So far, if you enjoyed this video, kindly like, leave a comment and subscribe. Now that we have identified the bad habits that are holding you back, let us discuss the general tips that you can use to break them. First off, start small. Begin with one habit at a time. It could be the habit of ignoring others. It could be the habit of procrastination. Start small. Start small when trying to deal with that habit. Rome wasn't built in a day. Secondly, track your progress. You can use a journal to do this or an application. a habit tracker to track the progress that you're making. Thirdly, find accountability. So you can share your goals with a friend to help you stay accountable, or join a community that is sharing the same challenges, so that people can easily be accountable to each other. Another tip is for you to replace the bad habits with good ones. It is easier for you to replace it than eliminate it completely, as it can feel overwhelming. But when you replace it, it creates a smoother transitioning, from bad to good. Example, replacing negative self talks with positive affirmations and constructive feedbacks. Another example is, instead of eating unhealthy food, instead of eating snacks that are unhealthy, let's say you want to lose weight, replace it with eating healthier, go for healthier options. So that is it. You've come to the end of this video. If you found it helpful, kindly leave a comment, share, like, and subscribe to this channel. Can you tell me the bad habits you're trying to cut off this year? And what steps are you going to take to cut these habits off? I hope this video was helpful. Till we see again, remember to live above mediocrity.